Welcome, guys, into King Josiah TV, where this channel was created to educate, promote, and influence the kingdom of Jesus Christ in this world. As your host, I am Josiah. Guys, before we get started, guys, I always ask, if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and smash the subscribe button for me. And if you're listening audibly on Apple Podcast or Spotify, go ahead and hit that follow button, guys. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
Watch giants fall like Goliath. David, I dance. This ain't no TikTok. God told me that my steps was ordered. Walking in flip flops. Chris Rock, how they laughed at me for.
All right, guys. So the first thing that we're going to cover is one of my favorite pastimes. My favorite things is Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Not directly them specifically, but I love boxing, guys. That's one of my favorite sports to watch. I've been watching boxing since the 80s. I mean, since Tyson, came out and before the 90s with Holyfield and all that, like I was growing up on that, like the Rocky movies. That was my thing. So guys, boxing and all that, like I love it like so much. So I figured what better thing to bring up than to talk about boxing. And people say, well, how does boxing relate to the kingdom of God, or how does boxing relate to that? Well, we're going to show you guys. Anyways, so today there is actually tomorrow. I'm recording this on a Thursday, but when this comes out, it'll be on a Friday, the day that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are fighting. My opinion is, honestly, I hope that Tyson wins. I think he's got way more power, way more experience, not to take away from Jake Paul. I think he's a great fighter. But I honestly just think Tyson got it in the bag. That's just my personal opinion. But guys, we're going to bring up a video. They just recently had a interview just before the fight, a sit down fight where they had a sit down to have a conversation. And it's just real interesting on what Jake Paul had to say and how he's came to his conclusion based on where his mental state is pertaining to this fight. So I'm not going to talk it away, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here on this.
Gentlemen, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to meet you, bro.
Look, to maintain order, we're going to allow you guys 45 seconds to answer my question. The opponent has 45 seconds to respond.
This is like a presidential debate.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
When I'm here, it's important.
Hopefully it's not 2v1 like Trump had to do with.
No. We good. You guys ready?
Go.
All right, let's get it. We're going to start with you, Mike. Why'd you agree to take this fight with Jake Paul?
I believe this is going to be great for boxing. I believe I'm going to win.
Jake, why'd you agree to take the fight with Mike?
Man, he's a legend, This is the guy. This is one of the two most famous boxers to ever live, him and Muhammad Ali. This is a dream come true for me. I am inspired by Mike, his story, what he's persevered through. And to be able to fight him and to share the ring with such a legend is a special moment for me, and it's historic. And the fact that we did it with Netflix, it's the biggest fight of the century, and that's what
I mean, regardless of what people have to say about Jake Paul, I mean, this fight and what's going on is monumental. Whether or not you agree with it, you think that these two should be fighting, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, this is monumental. This is one thing I would say he's 100% right on. This fight is going to change the landscape of boxing and exhibitions.
what I love to do, make history, have fun, and go to war.
Well, to add on top of, what does it mean for boxing?
Everything, man. This all came from an ayahuasca ceremony. When I saw this happening, I saw the butterfly effect of every kid going into the gym the next day, wanting to be like me or Mike. 700 million people watching on Netflix. And
this is the exact part I was telling you guys about, his mindset. He says he went on an ayahuasca trip, and we've all heard about ayahuasca. A lot of these celebrities and things get into this, and these things pertaining to ayahuasca, they're actually tapping into things of the spiritual. And what they're doing is they're tapping into the spiritual illegally, in a sense, through the back door. And that's what I wanted to bring some relevance to. So I'm going to just switch gears here real quick and hear him talking about when he went on this ayahuasca trip.
Should be.
So I just want you guys to listen to this, him talking about this, because Jake Paul's been on this spiritual trail. And that's the thing, is a lot of people are mixing things of God and things of the world. And that's where we get this new age Christianity thing. This is something you really have to be leery of, but I'm going to let him talk further on his ayahuasca trips and stuff that he did pertaining to weed and things to get there.
Explain, like, yo, how did we meet? Like, where did this all start?
That's going into the deep end, man.
Yes, like straight away. But yeah, it's we've become brothers, like really, really close brothers over the past 2 years now, maybe 2.5 years. But Lucas Mack first introduced us, who is, as the audience knows, my breathwork and meditation coach, and we first met doing Toad.
Yeah, that was I mean, if you're gonna meet somebody, might as well meet in the lap of God, you know what I mean? And
I don't think a lot of people know what Toad is. We're going to get into this a little further here in a moment, but Toad it's a drug. It's a drug that makes you hallucinate and trip out. You're not getting closer to God. That's what people try to think. When you access the spiritual illegally, you're not getting closer to God because you're accessing things that you are not supposed to be accessing. And the only thing we're supposed to be meditating on is things up above and things of God, and meditating on his word, not meditating on things outside of that.
So obviously I knew who you were, and so you came out and met at our location and venue, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? And then within an hour
we were crying
together.
together.
Within an hour. So the way that you facilitate Toad, so Toad is 5-MeO-DMT. It comes from the Sonoran Desert toad. Bufo alvarius is the name. That's why it's called Bufo. And it's a particular toad that stays in hibernation for most of the year and then comes out. And
let me just explain the drug, guys, but I want to play one other clip pertaining to this. We're going to play this
on
here.
That whole entire thing changed.
Sorry, what's that now?
Ayahuasca.
You did ayahuasca?
It's a medicine.
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
But
do you want to?
It allowed me to see in a three-dimensional way the butterfly effect. And we all know what the butterfly effect is, and like obviously if you do one thing, how does it affect the rest of history and the universe? It's like a butterfly flaps his wings on one side of the earth, a storm is created on the other. So during ayahuasca, I got to see the butterfly effect of like my career and my influence over kids in boxing, and it painted this illusion of kids and millions of kids watching me through the TV and on their phone.
And that's what I'm trying to explain to people, guys. The enemy will always disguise himself as an enemy of light, or sorry, as an angel of light. And so, guys, I think that's something we just really got to put into our heads and really narrow down, that just because you are accessing the spiritual, just because you feel closer to God when you're high and you're on these drugs and things like that, of course, you're out of your mind. You are actually stepping in between the spiritual. You're like in that sweet space. So I'm not going to tell you that you haven't accessed the spiritual, but how are you accessing the spiritual? And are you actually communicating with things that are actually of God? Are you communicating with demons? And that is what you are communicating with, demons and other spirits. You don't think the devil is not going to give you the dreams and desires of your heart? What did he do to Jesus after Jesus's fast, when he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights? When he came out of the fast, the devil put him over a cliff and said, I will give you all these kingdom. The devil got gifts. The devil can tell you of your future because he can give things. He's the prince of this world. We're going to let him finish talking.
Phones. And then the next day, them going out to get motivated into the gym and become boxers. And because I got to see that so vividly and feel it emotionally during this ayahuasca ceremony, my viewpoint on that exact thing changed.
I just don't like the fact that if you're standing on the moon, hypothetically, and you hold your thumb up and you cover planet Earth, everything you ever knew, every experience you ever had, everything that ever mattered to in your life is pretty much no longer exists.
Yeah, but that's an.
It is.
That's
It's just behind your thumb.
No, but that's it.
What the flip they're talking about, guys. But we're gonna get back to the Jake Paul interview. But I want to read one little thing before we get back to their face off, guys, because he goes into a little bit of some other things, but just some scriptures, guys, just for some other relevance. We're going to read from Isaiah 1:12-13. When you come to appear before me, who has asked this of you? To the trample on my courts. Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Incense is as an abomination to me. no new moon and Sabbath and calling of the conventions. I cannot endure iniquity and solemn assembly. So what is God saying? God is saying, I cannot take these offerings, these things, when you're trying to enter the spirit realm, access me illegally. Like I said in the other video, oh, we access God. No, you didn't access God. God says these things are an abomination to me. These drugs, these things that you're putting into your body, these demonic spirits that are teaching you and showing you things of the spiritual are not God's way of doing it. It's backwards.
The impact this will have on the sport is unfathomable, and it's untangible, quite frankly.
Okay, Mike. So what does it mean to be fighting Jake Paul? And same question to you. What does this mean for boxing?
To be honest, boxing's never seen nothing like this in the history of boxing. Since it began 250 years ago, it's never seen anything like this, and probably never will.
Well, Mike,
You ain't lying.
let me ask you this. What does it say about Mike Tyson if he knocks out a 27-year-old Jake Paul?
Mike just knocked somebody else out again. You know, this is gonna be big. It's just it's not like it's just some 27-year-old. It's Jake Paul.
Jake, same question to you. What does it mean if you knock out a 58-year-old Mike Tyson?
Yeah, when it happens, it's going to be a little bittersweet because I have love for him. But at the current moment, we're meant to go to war. He's trying to take the food off my plate. I'm trying to take the food off of his plate. And that's what warriors do. Right. But for me, I've dreamt this, manifested it, and it'll be the start of, you know, what has been a 12-year career for me in entertainment and acting and working and all the things I've done.
And what I say, guys, that the enemy can give you anything. The enemy can give you the desires of your heart. But what is us as believers? What does God tell us? He kind of alters our view on that. God says, no, come to me with the desires of your heart, and I will give you my heart, and I will give you your desires. See, we can have unrighteous ambition. We can have ambition, and God doesn't say you shouldn't have ambition. You shouldn't want to be something, do things like Jake Paul is saying. But what place is that coming from? Everything that he's obtained and everything he wants to do is for his own personal glory and his own personal, like he said, manifestations. These are things that he thinks he can create. You cannot create your own reality. That's the thing that humans need to get from. We think that when we get so much on ourselves, we think that we can create our own reality. We think we can shape all this, and you really can't. Guys, we're going to skip a little bit forward here in this interview, a little bit towards the end there, just for time's sake.
Said this is the greatest boxing match in the history of boxing, and it's because I'm a part of it.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, man. And this is the do-si-do in Texas, the biggest fight. And I do think a dance requires two people, but that's the magic in this, is that we're, you know, this yin and yang that is creating this massive fucking disruption and storm and massive fight. So, you know, 2024, November 15th, the gods and the universe aligned us to do something magical. And it takes the both of us.
And see when he says gods. See, that's something that Christians, you guys got to be conscious of. And this when it comes to have your thinking cap on, when it comes to have your spiritual full armor of God on. People, when they don't claim Jesus Christ and they say gods, plural, little g, they're not talking about the God of the Bible. They're talking about demons, spirits, and principalities and rulers of this world that are demonic, that they are tapping into. And so, guys, that's why I said there's a fine line to cross, and we've really got to be able to decipher what they're talking about. Because a lot of people, they just hear somebody say God and say, oh, they believe in God. They believe. No, they're tapping into something outside of God. They're tapping into something that is demonic, something that God says is an abomination to him.
But he's had a longer, illustrious career, and I believe by the end of my career, I will reign as the GOAT of this sport.
Now, a lot of people are saying that the Taylor
I disagree. Jake Paul, you good, you're entertaining, but Jake Paul, you will never be a Mike Tyson. You will never be that. Now, he will have made some great impact. And I agree with that. Like, I love boxing. My favorite boxer right now is Gervonta Davis. And the reason why Gervonta makes big differences in the sport is because he puts on a show. And what does Jake Paul do? He puts on a show. I give him that. But any boxing enthusiast, anybody that's been boxing for a while, you're not going to be on the same level as Mike Tyson. It's just not going to happen, brother.
Toronto fight should be the main event. Part 1 was a fucking amazing battle. What do you have to say to that?
It is the, like this is, there's 2 main events. How do you choose which one to put before each other? They're massive. I'm more excited to watch that than I am excited to take his punches. But yeah, man, I mean, it's massive, and I'm just so excited to see the rematch and for Amanda Serrano to prove.
We're gonna end that portion there, guys. Again, their fight is tomorrow on, I ain't promoting, not getting paid for this, but the fight is tomorrow on Netflix. I'm gonna tune in myself. So guys, I'm gonna do one more scripture pertaining to this just to kind of wrap this up. Again, on talking about doing things that are pretty much at the end of the day, and scripturally it's idolatry. So we're going to read from Galatians 5 through 21. The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, and debauchery, idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, disorder, jealousy, fits of rage, and selfish ambition, decess, and factions, and envy, drunkenness, orgies, and like I warn you of these things, as I did before, that those that who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. And what did it say? Selfish ambition. And what does Jake Paul have? He has selfish ambition. These are not ambitions to further the kingdom of Christ. These are his own selfish ambitions to become great in this world. And again, we are not working for the crown in this world. We're working for another crown that's above us. And thank you guys again for paying attention to King Josiah TV. If you're listening again, guys, on YouTube, if you haven't yet, why haven't you? Go ahead and smash that like button. Give me a like, guys. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give me that follow button, guys. Again, thank you guys for staying in tune today, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
But my salvation on me like it's a helmet. The wages to sin is death, for send you to hell quick. Wanted to be all about me, God, I was selfish. I was rebellious.